on the spirits, this is a void in your category and you have to get there first. That's more important than really building a spot around low fare. I mean, everyone is going to be low fare.
What really differentiates something from another thing? I think it's creating kind of something that communicates to people on another level, beyond a logical level.
The question is an advertising classic. Should the pitch be aimed at the head or the heart? How creative can an ad get and still be an ad?
Someone once wrote a book called Advertisements for Myself. That's what advertising is. It's advertising for the guys who are creating it far more than it is for the guys who are paying for it. They're trying to win awards, they're trying to make more money, they're trying to build their own portfolio, they're trying to get a better job, they're trying to make up for the fact that they're in advertising and not directing films or doing stand-up comedy or painting paintings or whatever they would prefer to do, I guarantee you. And the consequence is a lot of advertising that's quite extravagant in its look or very clever and entertaining and funny, but which doesn't do the thing that advertising is supposed to do, which is make you want to buy the good or service that's nominally being advertised.
Look at the coffee as it gets darker and stronger.
Not so long ago, the high-concept ads of today were all but unthinkable.
Soap has never smelled this good before, and neither have you.
Ads laid claim to real, tangible differences between one product and another.
What were brands? They were based on what I call ER words. Whiter, brighter, cleaner, stronger.
Smoothest, mildest, tastiest cigarette.
Watch any commercials on American TV and you'll see these words up in the first 3 seconds, hammered remorselessly into your brain.
But at some point, these words ceased to have meaning. We no longer believed that one product was any brighter or cleaner than any other.
Everything works now, you know. French fries taste crisp, coffee's hot, you know, beer tastes good. Unless you live in America, and then, you know, you got to live with what you get. But all these things now are table stakes.
By the early 1990s, a new approach to marketing came to the fore. One that leapt right over what the product did to what the product meant.
You know, it's not just a car, it's an expression of the culture, an aesthetic that is connected somehow to nature, infinity.
These were the super brands like Nike, Starbucks, the Body Shop, and what they noticed these brands had in common was that they were they were engaging in a kind of a sort of pseudo-spiritual marketing. So Nike said that they were about the meaning of sports, but more than that, that they were about transcendence through sports. Starbucks said that they were about the idea of community, a place that is a third place, that is not home, not work. Benetton was, of course, selling multiculturalism, racial diversity.
This lesson, that a brand could forge an emotional, even spiritual bond with today's cynical consumer, wasn't lost on corporate America.
What are you saying with your Chinette plates?
This wave of corporate epiphanies in the mid-90s where all these companies, were told, what your problem is you don't have a big idea behind your brand. So they would hire high-priced consultants and they would have these kind of corporate sweat lodges and gather around the campfire and sort of try to channel their inner brand meaning. And they would emerge from these processes sort of flushed and say, Polaroid isn't a camera, it's a social lubricant.
When I was a brand manager at Procter & Gamble, my job was basically to make sure the product was good, develop new advertising copy, design the pack. Now a brand manager has an entirely different kind of responsibility. In fact, they have more responsibility. Their job now is to create and maintain a whole meaning system for people through which they get identity and understanding of the world. Their job now is to be a community leader.
It is the big monopolistic.
Yeah.
Ad strategist Douglas Atkin, an expert on the relationship between consumers and brands, says he had a eureka moment one night during a focus group.
I was in a research facility watching 8 people rhapsodize about a sneaker. And I thought, where is this coming from? This is, at the end of the day, a piece of footwear. But the terms they were using were evangelical. So I thought, if these people are expressing cult-like devotion, then why not study cults? Why not study the original? Find out why people join cults and apply that knowledge to brands.
I'm loyal to this practice because it's done so much for me.
If Atkin could find what pushed a person from mere fan to devoted disciple, perhaps he could market that knowledge.
Most of the people I discuss the WWF with know that it's not a sport. Right. It's a masculine ballet.
So he compared dozens of groups he considered cults with so-called cult brands, from Hare Krishna to Harley Davidson.
If you're smart and kind of individual, that's what you drive.
From Falun Gong to Mac.
I think there's something about Mac users, like they get it.
We just had discovered something.
They realize there are other people like them and they cooperate on certain projects. And it's part of belonging to the tribe.
And the conclusion was this, is that people, whether they're joining a cult or joining a brand, do so for exactly the same reasons. They need to belong and they want to make meaning. We need to figure out what the world is all about and we need the company of others. It's simply that. Saturn is a really good example. It's a mass cult brand. For example, 45,000 people turned up to spend their holiday, their vacation time at the factory in Tennessee, instead of going to Disney World or the Grand Canyon. Now, why would they do that? It's because they wanted to meet other people who own Saturns. They wanted to meet the rest of the Saturn family. They wanted to meet the people who made the car. The people who made the car wanted to meet them. And the people who ran the Saturn business knew that.
This summer,
they not only knew it, they turned it into an ad, which only brought more people into the Saturn family.
We called it the Saturn Homecoming. They could see where the idea for a new kind of car company had taken shape, and we could thank them for believing we could do it.
And they created a great meaning system for Saturn. In those fantastic commercials, their meaning system was based on old-time values of community. It was a kind of an icon that America yearned for but couldn't find anymore.
And that's the object of emotional branding, to fill the empty places where non-commercial institutions like schools and churches might have once done the job. Brands become more than just a mark of quality. They become an invitation to a longed-for lifestyle, a ready-made identity.
The campaign for iPod is remarkable. When I see the poster as I'm passing by, when I go on the website and it comes to life, and I hear the music track going, and then when I put my little iPod earpods on, and I see the white cords against my black jacket, I'm in that poster, and the poster is me. And then the music, my music, comes over my iPod, and it's a brand experience.
When you listen to brand managers talk, you can get quite carried away in this idea that they actually are fulfilling these needs that we have for community and narrative and transcendence. But in the end, it is, a laptop and a pair of running shoes, and they might be great, but they're not actually going to fulfill those needs. But which serves them very well, because of course that means that you have to go shopping again.
Ironically, this new, more spiritual trend in branding has ultimately put enormous pressure back on ad agencies. There are only so many big concepts to go around. Starry-eyed advertisers looking to become the next big thing are constantly dropping one agency for another. This churning of accounts has left hundreds of agencies weakened and vulnerable to takeover by one of 6 mammoth holding companies. Most notably, Publicis, Interpublic, WPP, and Omnicom. Each has snapped up dozens of advertising, PR, and market research firms, consolidating their operations and slashing jobs. This cutthroat economic climate means that for many ad agencies, their most important pitch of all is for themselves.
There's a lot of fear in the agency business right now. They are basically becoming commodities, and they're trying to figure out how to differentiate themselves. And if you boil down, if you went to the websites of the top 20 ad agencies and you looked at what each one uses as the slogan or the motto that they think differentiates themselves from their competitors, these things read almost absurdly like the same sentence cast a lot of different ways.